You are listening to the Showbiz Side Hustle Podcast, powered by PerformerPreneur. I am your host here, Nicole-Louise Geddes, and together we'll be delving into all of the ways that a showbiz side hustle can support you now and long into the future. So sit back, relax, and listen in, and together let's get inspired to take action to create the life, future, and business of your dreams. This episode is sponsored by the Showbiz Side Hustle Handbook, available on Kindle and in paperback over on Amazon. Follow the simple tasks laid out over 3 easy-to-action sections and effectively build a strong business foundation for a successful showbiz side hustle. Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Showbiz Side Hustle Podcast. This week I am introducing a member, Hazel. She's a beloved friend who I've known through many stages of our lives, and so I'm excited for her to divulge into all of the different avenues she has taken, where she was, where she is now. So Hazel, introduce yourself, my darling, and tell the listeners who you are, what you do, what you've done. I mean, the list is endless, and then we'll go a little bit deeper and talk about all of the different avenues and the ways that you have made money from the performing arts industry.
As Nicole said, I'm Hazel. Me and Nicole have known each other a very, very long time in lots of different guises. I started out as a performer. I was an actress, and very much that was my goal. I wanted to be an actress. I did lots of sort of theatre and education, schools tours, old people's tours, panto. I did holiday parks. I sort of moved into the sort of entertainment sector. I moved into holiday resorts. I did seasons abroad. I did seasons on ships. I had a lovely time. And I didn't really think very much about the future and what I was going to do with my life. I just was having a lovely time. And then I hit 30. I decided it was time to get married and have children. And then I came a little bit unstuck because as a 30-year-old woman, it didn't feel like the industry was very friendly to me at that point. So I came home. I got married, I had children, I got a degree in drama and production. Then I slowly started thinking about what I was going to do next. So I started my own businesses. My business, Black Hat Theatrical, went through like several guises. It started off being about immersive events. It moved on to being sort of street theatre. When I had my children, I really sort of found my niche in children's theatre. I've always been really, really passionate about theatre for young people. At the time, there wasn't a lot of theatre for the very young, so I did a lot of work on creating early years theatre, really sensory experiences for babies and toddlers that families could enjoy. And with my company, I did a little bit of everything. We did festivals, we did lots of bespoke events, very much a very, very, very sort of family and child orientated, but very much bringing all of the experience that I had. So like theatre, entertainment, all those different things into it. And I found actually at that point that I knew a lot more about the industry than I thought I had because I'd done so many things. So I did that, and I ran my companies for solely ran my companies for maybe 7 years, possibly more. And then obviously COVID happened. And we all know how that went for all of us creative self-employed types. So during COVID, I pivoted, to use Nicole's word, and I did lots of stuff online. I sort of went, right, what can we do? We need to bring some magic to people. And I created a Christmas company, which was all about bringing Christmas experiences to you, because obviously we didn't know how COVID was going to affect Christmas. It actually worked out really well for my company, because of the tier system. It meant that people couldn't go to the Christmas experiences, so we could bring them to them, and that was something that I was really incredibly passionate about. Having young children at that point as well, it was just really, that was never really about being a money maker. It was always very much about just giving something and creating that magic. Christmas in my house is a very, very big deal. We've got all sorts of Christmas mythology and stories, and I wanted to bring that to everybody. And actually, what started as a sort of little extra side hustle during COVID turned into something that just really took on a life of its own. So from Black Hat Theatrical, the North Pole Elf Company was born as a sort of second layer of business. And then after COVID, somebody offered me the chance to go back onto a holiday park, which I had never had any intentions of doing again. It was something I'd done that I'd enjoyed that just didn't register to me at all. But the holiday park had been sold. There was a bit of a sort of situation where they didn't have any entertainment, and I was able to go in as a freelancer. So I was able to go in self-employed, do pretty much what I wanted, working with another really good friend of mine. And I thought, well, this will be fun for a little contract. Let's do that. And I really enjoyed myself, and I suddenly remembered a whole side of me that I'd lost. And then I was really fortunate because at the end of that contract, they said, Hazel, we have loved what you've done here, and we would really like you to be our entertainments manager. Would you consider taking a permanent job with us? And it should have been a really difficult decision because I was giving up all of that freedom that I'd had to be with my babies and pick contracts around that, and create all my own companies and do all of that wonderful stuff that I was really enjoying. But actually it just felt like the right thing to do. To just say, do you know what? Actually, I am going to take that. I am going to come onto your park. I'm going to take a permanent job. I'm going to go back to full-time work, which was against everything I'd ever said. And I have been there. This is my 4th season there now. Absolutely love it. I have had a lot of freedom to do everything that I've wanted to do. I've managed to create an incredible entertainment experience for this company. I've done it as a paid employee rather than a freelance practitioner, but I've also been able to keep my freelance stuff going alongside that. And the knowledge that I've gained as a self-employed practitioner has given me so much more understanding of how a business needs an employee to work. And I think I'm really quite respected where I am because everyone understands that I know about marketing and I know about income and I know about revenue and I understand all the different nuances, and I'm not just going, oh yeah, I'm here to make the entertainment work, because the entertainment is the center of making everything work. So yeah, it's interesting. I've done things sort of in a different way, and I've done it all maybe the wrong way around or maybe the right way around. It was definitely the right way around for me. I've kept my businesses going. It's allowed me to pick and choose the contracts. So rather than my businesses being a constant hustle, I've been able to say, oh right, I've got this repeat client that's come back that wants this, that I can do. It's worth doing. This client is important to me. This contract is, we shouldn't say it, but we all know this is what it's about. This contract is worth the money. Let's do it. And as a full-time working mum, I've also found that I've still managed to keep that work-life balance. And sometimes as a self-employed person, you go self-employed, say, right, I'm gonna do this so that I have time to spend with my children. And then suddenly you're so busy hustling that you don't have the time to spend with your children. So actually, switching it around a little bit has allowed me to get the work-life balance back a little bit, but still do a little bit of everything that I love. Does that make sense?
Oh my God. I'm grinning from ear to ear. I mean, didn't get a word in edgeways, but I'm absolutely loving
Sorry.
listening to you. If you're watching on YouTube, listeners, then you'll see that I'm absolutely elated listening to Hazel's story. And Hazel, I'm not sure how often you have relayed that whole journey out loud. So I want you to really embrace and listen and be proud of that whole spectrum of work and creativity and diversity that you have created and sustained and done. I'm super proud of you as a friend and as a mentor. But go listen to that back and just really applaud yourself on that journey. You've mentioned money a couple of times in there as well. And so I want to just pick up on that because the past couple of episodes, we've spoken about money mindset, we've spoken about taxes and the tax year, income, profit, loss, revenue. And the reason I brought you on at this point on the podcast journey is because exactly what you have said. You seemingly, and there is no right and wrong, and I think that's the first thing, you have said and suggested that you possibly have done this the other way round, the wrong way round. There's definitely no wrong or right way round, but you've definitely done it a different way round to most people. You've left performing, you've created your own amazing, successful businesses, and then at that moment where most people would kind of be sat back thinking, let's just let them run and be here, you've gone back to full-time work and embrace that opportunity to immerse yourself right back at the beginning in the creativity. And so I just think that's a really interesting and important fact for the listeners to hear. There's no right or wrong. There's no which way is better than the other. You also said something about you just knew and felt, and I implore everybody to just listen to that feeling and do what you need to do with it. It's individual, and most of the time it's your purpose, like it's your purpose coming through. I suspect your purpose was to better that entertainment program, to bring more magic to those children and to those people as it had done throughout all of the years. So I mean, boom, bish bash bosh, we've done. Well done. Let me think of a couple of questions that I think the listeners would really learn from. So, motherhood, you spoke about becoming a mother. That changes everything, and becoming a parent in general. And also, that is a catalyst for change for many people, but some people don't want to become parents. But the point of the conversation, the point of the question was, at that point, there was a pivotal kind of change in you, and your business direction changed, your creative direction changed to this theatre and this family orientated theatre. And at that point, I'm sure you felt like, do I move? When you're building a business, it feels like if you start to change things, you'll lose its identity. What are your thoughts on just following and pushing through those fears and purpose?
I very much, sometimes I consider myself to be a bit of a drifter, because I do sort of just drift from thing to thing. But and I consider myself to be quite scared of things as well. Like I genuinely, I feel the fear. I feel the fear constantly. Like I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I feel the fear. Like, but I do think that there's a lot to be said. And I think when I was younger, everyone used to say, "Oh, you'll know, your intuition will tell you, you'll know what the right thing to do is." And I think I spent my 20s very much sort of going from contract to contract, having a lovely time, not really having much direction. And then I spent my 30s panicking, thinking, and actually this is really quite personal. I genuinely spent my 30s panicking, thinking, oh my gosh, everyone around me has got their life together, and I've just wasted my 20s like having a lovely time performing all over the place. So now I've got to catch up. And all the way through my 30s, I felt like I was playing catch up. So every time I made a decision, so starting my companies, changing the direction of my companies, changing the focus when I had children, it was all very much, there was a real driving force behind everything I did in my 30s, because I was like, I have to catch up with everybody around me. Everybody's got houses, everybody's married, everybody's got children, everybody can drive. I still can't drive. It's actually not a problem. But it just, yeah, I really felt like I had to like get my stuff together. So every decision I made at that point was actually sort of did come from a place of fear and a little bit of a place of panic, because I was like, right, I need to get everything together. But also everything came together when you look back at that journey. I think everything came together in exactly the way it was meant to. And when I did have my children, who are incredible and genuinely do become the driving force behind everything, it just made sense. And I despite the listening to fear and the sort of panic driven decision making, I think somewhere deep inside you've always got that voice that says this is the right thing to do. And I
Well,
think now, sorry, now that I'm well into my 40s, I just think, do you know what? Actually, the universe isn't going to let us down. As long as we're constantly moving and we're constantly like examining our decisions, but going with our gut, the universe isn't going to let us down. And I genuinely feel much calmer about life now. But I think that comes from that process. So yeah, trust your intuition. That's the bottom line of that.
it is, and I genuinely do live my life by that gut feeling. Crazy as it might seem to people that don't follow that feeling. But we can spend too much time resisting change. I think that's what I want to express to the listeners. Like, we can spend too much time resisting change. But when a path is laid out in front of you, as specifically, for instance, as being a parent, having children, you can pull against it and try and continue down the path you once followed, or the path that you feel is more respected or celebrated. But actually there's a real strong pull, and you do best not to ignore that
Yeah.
as well, because if the two things, if your passion, your purpose, your focus, your balance, your life can all align, it makes things so much easier. And you said that as well, like, it just was easy. This making money, this creating, this change in the direction of the company felt easy because it was aligned with the dimension and the time that you're at with your family life. So when it comes to money, people might look in, and I hope you don't mind me saying, because it's certainly not true, but people might look in and be like, oh, Hazel got a proper job because, the businesses weren't this, or she wasn't that. I mean, that people presume a lot of things. I know
Yeah.
for a fact that is not true. But again, we can do a lot of things based on what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's not true. Two, people could think what they like. But three, I want the truth out. I want you to have that moment to say exactly what you've just said in the build up to it. Everything was running smoothly. You got an opportunity and you've added to it. You've
Yes.
added more income, you've added more stability. And so I think it's really exciting for the listeners and myself to go, once you've made a decision, it doesn't always have to stick. We can add multiple revenue streams, is my bag, baby. And you are now bringing in the cash from different places. One, being uber secure with that PAYE job as well. Do you want to talk us through that? Was there any fear about taking that role?
I was genuinely quite scared about it. When I first took the initial contract as a freelancer, I hadn't done holiday park entertainment for such a long time. And in actual fact, at that point, I was barely even performing. I'd sort of taken much more of a back seat. So I was writing work for other people to perform. And I hadn't performed for a really long time. And I'm sure you know this, I'm sure you're very aware of this. I had genuinely really lost my confidence in my ability to go on stage and perform. I wouldn't sing. Dancing, absolutely no chance. Just the thought of having to go on a stage, I knew I could still do it, but the thought of having to put myself out there as a performer, genuinely, it didn't feel like it was me anymore. I was much older. I'd put on quite a lot of weight. I had babies, and I'd matured as a woman. That's just what happens to us, unfortunately. But I didn't have that faith in myself as a performer anymore. So obviously going into a holiday park environment, I knew that I was going to have to do all of those things that I didn't feel that confident in. So I had massive anxiety about doing that. And it turned out that it was all right. It was really fun. And when they offered me the full-time contract, and I did, and there was genuinely, like you said, I thought, oh gosh, is everyone just gonna go, oh, Hazel's failed, so she's taken a full-time job. So again, I listened to the fear and I did it anyway. Because like you say, I knew the truth. I knew that we'd survived quite nicely on my income as a freelancer, as a business owner. I was raising my children on it. I was putting food on the table. I was paying the bills. And actually, I was really excited to go and have this opportunity where I could do all these creative things and perform myself. and have the backing of a big company all of a sudden. It wasn't just me sat up in the middle of the night going, oh my gosh, how am I going to pull off this massive contract? Because I suddenly had the backing of an organization and a steady paycheck and holiday pay and like company benefits, which I was very much like, I don't need any of those things. And you know, as self-employed people, we can do it, we've got it. But also it was really nice to suddenly go, oh, I've got all of that again. And the genuinely that I thought, you know, this is going to be a great opportunity. I was scared of a lot of it. I was scared about how I was going to make it work with my family and how I was going to juggle being a mum and working full time. I was worried about how I was going to react going back into employed situation where I was going to have to like play by the rules a little bit and not just do things my way. And you know, and there were times when I have genuinely in that first sort of year, there were genuinely times when I went, oh gosh, have I made a mistake? Was this the right thing to do? But those times were much less than the times when I went, oh my gosh, aren't I lucky? Like I felt so grateful for a lot of this time that I've just had this this amazing opportunity to use all of my skills and actually suddenly have faith in the fact that I have got all these skills. And I can look after my family and I can pay the bills and I can still do the creative stuff that I want to do and I can perform. Who knew? I can still get up on a stage and sing a song and do a dance. I did feel the fear 100%, but I did it anyway and it was 100% worth it.
Amazing. So come full circle, start off a performer, end as a performer, and all those things in between, you know, and I am listening and I know that I won't be the only one that just, you know, thinks that that is the dream. You're now, you know, like you're saying, backed by a big company that is paying for your creativity. So I want people to listen to the past episodes, this episode and the future episodes, where, you know, we're talking about side hustling, we're talking about building businesses, we're talking about pivoting, and this can go, as I've said before, in any which way, in any order, in any direction. And I'm sure, Hazel, in the future, you will put all of your eggs back into your self-employed basket, because I feel like, you know, your purpose will come to an end in that holiday park. There'll be a moment where you think this is done, my job here is done. But you are the queen of, as we all are in the industry, pivoting, turning our hand to the next thing, creating magic in a new way, facing the fear and doing it anyway. You said that several times and it's one of my favorite phrases. As a performer, I know we have the foundation, the skills, the transferable skills and tenacity to absolutely hold our hand out and do absolutely anything. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. And in the times that another little thing that I do is teach. But whenever I talk about teaching like performance skills, and I teach very young children, I teach slightly older children right up to teenagers. I've done drama therapy with children, and one of the things that I always say is that actually it gives you such a good foundation in so many transferable skills that you can take into the real world, even if you don't want to go into the entertainment industry, even if you don't want to perform, even if you don't want to be creative. The skills that we have as performers are so transferable to so much. I mean, they have to be, because let's face it, we all know it's a really hard industry.
It's a hard industry, but it's absolutely amazing when you're in it. That moment when you're wanting to exit it feels humongously kind of disorientating, scary, and you know, uncertain. But you prove, as do all of my members and guests that I bring on, that the transition is easy. And I say easy with a squint, because it's like, is it? It is. It's easy because we have more skills than many other professions.
Yeah.
I always think performers make the best entrepreneurs because of those skills, because of that creativity, because of the tenacity, because of that confidence, or even that kind of veil of pretending to be more confident than we are, than an entrepreneur from business school, for instance, that hasn't got any of these natural abilities that we have. They've got the kind of the strategy and the systems and the processes, but they haven't got what we've got. So I do believe that when we have made the leap, when we push through fear, performers make the best entrepreneurs, and the best people to have in teams, to have in business, as you are headhunted, and rightly so, to bring that holiday park back to life. Hazel, you and I could chat forever. Everyone knows that, they can tell. And I'll be seeing you back in the UK for many a conversation, both as a friend and as a mentor. But please, before we go, drop your socials, anything that anyone can come and find you, your businesses, and I'll also put them in the show notes, because those businesses are running. They're a little bit exclusive now. You just pick and choose who you want to work with, but that's a good thing, right? And one day you might change that up again as well. Who knows? Who even cares at this point? Live in the moment and do and be all the things that bring you joy. It's one of my biggest messages. Do the thing that makes you happy. And I love how happy that this role has made you.
Thank you.
So just your socials, my darling. Where can we find you online?
So you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Theatre Mama. You can find my companies on Instagram at Black Hat Theatre and the North Pole Elves. You can find me on Facebook under the same company names, and I have very recently started foraying into LinkedIn as well. So you can find me on LinkedIn, which is Hazel Mallinson-Nesmith.
Do go follow Hazel, because we have got the next big thing happening for Hazel. I won't divulge, it's not my secret to tell, but once a performer pivoting, always a performer pivoting. We've got the next big thing happening for Hazel. So go follow her on LinkedIn. We're going to start shouting about that very soon as well. It's all very exciting. And I think your story, your journey, the weaves and the different avenues you've taken just prove that it's absolutely possible in any which way, at any given time. You know, you've spoke about your age through that, being a parent, and it's inspirational. People need to hear this stuff. People need to know that this is all available to everybody listening to. Big love, my darling.
Oh, you too. Thank you for having me. Mwah.
Okay, guys, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you for joining me here on the Showbiz Side Hustle Podcast. So until next time, please do take a little bit of action, that very first step, and make sure that you are doing something for you and your Showbiz Side Hustle this week to move you forward and get you heading quickly and swiftly and strategically towards success.